Hello everyone. Sorry. This is so weird. Um, I came on here to give everybody an update and maybe look at the charts for a little bit. So, for those of you that are watching later, I wanted to give you an update because everything has changed. Everything has changed. So, I have to be a little quiet. I'm in Oregon now. I've had to move quickly. I won't tell you everything that's happened, but um, the problem with being over here is that there isn't much housing. Um, and so I'm in a really small town. So right now I'm staying with my daughter. We're trying to figure that out. So this is like the first time I've actually moved and um, that I've actually moved and didn't have a place that like I need that I like a place of my own or a place that I could move to, right? So remember what I was telling you guys? We have that Chiron wound. We have the solar eclipse. We have the lunar eclipse. With the lunar eclipse, um, I told you guys stuff can just change, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Hi, Lorna, um, my angel. Um, with all of this move, I've had some. Hello, how are you? So with all of this, I had to basically jump, and I had to land on my own. Like it's the first time that I've been somewhere where there's like a housing issue. There's like a because it's such a small town. There's not very many places, and the town is growing. And I am in Oregon, um, but this is. I wanted to get on here and tell you some of what's going on. I won't tell you everything until it's like all. Maybe I'll tell you later. But this is that Chiron wound. This is that lunar eclipse I was talking about. The important thing is that there's fear with it. I told you it's a wound. So there may be fear with this wound that you're having to go through for the solar eclipse. But it's okay to be afraid. It's just, I don't want you to stay in the fear. That's what I wanted to make really important to everyone. Of course you can be afraid. Of course you can be scared. This is like for me, it's like I don't know what's going to go on next. I am trying to get to a place where it's stable, where I can get back online every day because I was loving doing lives every day and being with you guys every day and showing you what was coming up. And so I'm working on getting back to that. But right now, I'm just a little unstable. We're trying to find a place. I'm at my daughter's place that's a really, really small place. So, um, yeah, that's what's going on. But I did want to talk about this solar eclipse that's coming. This is the 6th. It's going to be on the 8th. So, but we have that Chiron wound. We've got the sun there right now next to the North Node. So we are going to be catapulted. And I'm seeing online where there's all this fear around it. There's all this what's going to happen, and there's all this stuff coming up. But don't be afraid. You can be afraid for a minute, but don't sit in the fear. Just don't sit in the fear because you have to remind yourself that you've been through worse. And you have to remind yourself that you are resourceful and you've pulled yourself out of so many things. And I'm talking to myself as well. But we have to remind ourselves that we are warriors. We have been through a lot. And this is just one more step. There's David. This is just one more step to get us to the place that we want to go. Thank you for doing the hearts. I appreciate it. I don't know that anybody's going to see it. Yeah, exactly. We've got this. We've got this. And some of us, I told you guys things happen fast for me. Like, and most of the time they happen first for me, and then you guys get it. But it's so that as I'm going through it, I think it's so that as I'm going through it, and then when you guys, some of you guys, depending on your path, having to go through the change, having to go through some change, because there's going to be some change for everybody. It kind of varies on your chart. Um, it's going to be some change, and some people aren't as adaptable as me, and they don't like change, and they don't like to move, and they don't like, they like things very stable. And I'm telling you, when I'm jumping and don't have a place to land, I'm serious. I'm jumping and I don't have a place to land. But in all reality, I do have a place to land. I land within me. And that's something that I'm learning about I already knew, but I'm more understanding of my resourcefulness, more understanding of what this is all about. So, as the changes come for you guys, I want you to remember that you can do this, whatever change it may be. For some of you, it may be small, for some of you, it may be bigger, but there is, because of that wound, it's going to be a little scary. Hi, thank you, Sandy. I love you too. We're all gonna be okay, and I promise. Things are looking up. Honestly, it's just that it's not what you're used to. It's very different. But so for myself, I'm thinking if I have to go through this, so I know a lot of people don't like change. Sandy says I don't like change. So if for me, if this gets me to the things that I have been manifesting, one of the things that I had been manifesting was being by my daughter and my grandbaby. Uh, and finally settling down by my daughter and my grandbaby. And so this was just, even though it was scary, even though the funds are low, even though, I didn't come with like, people usually move and they'll have a job and they have a place to stay and but I didn't have any of that. I didn't have any of that. So luckily my daughter is, there, it's a very small place, but it's not a long-term thing. And so this is the best that I can do for live right now. If y'all are okay with me doing lives like this, there's no fancy, I'm going to show you the chart that I have. David helped me. Lorna has helped me. Like, I have such good people around me that don't want me to fail. It's the same with you guys. This is what I was talking about, everybody coming together. If you need something, say something, and whatever anybody can help with, they can help with, right? The other thing that I want to address to those people that are going to see this later and maybe not see this tonight, because I've had a couple of people, I've already made it, they were very understanding. I don't want to do the reading right now because I'm not in a place where I can do the reading right now, reading with you. But if you want to order reading and you're willing to wait a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks, then we can do that. But that's kind of up to you. There are people that want readings from me, and they keep emailing me and asking me. But that's why I'm saying this now. If you're wanting a reading with me, we can order it. I can put you on the schedule, but we're looking at 3 or 4 weeks out. So because I have a possibility of getting a place, but y'all hold me in your light. Hopefully everything will turn out okay and I'll get this place. Again, there's not very much that's available. So there's like, that there's housing crisis everywhere, but this is a really small place. Oregon's not a state with a big population anyway. And so part of the problem is the housing. So, but this is where my daughter's at, and this is where I wanted to be at. And I was just priced out of California. It was just the wrong thing for me. So, this is where I'm landing, this is where I'm going, and yeah, that's it. That's it. So, I hope you guys understand. For those of you that want readings, you can email me. We can put you on the schedule. But again, I won't be able to do a reading with you for at least 3 or 4 weeks. So as long as you're understanding about that, I'm willing to put you on my schedule. I'm going to get to the place. It's just going to take some time. It's going to take you guys holding me in your light. It's going to take getting over some fears. But I know that things are going to work out because we're about to hit that solar eclipse. And that like I'm doing everything so that when that solar eclipse comes and moves us into the direction that our path is supposed to be, yeah, send your best energy to me. But as soon as we hit that solar eclipse and it pushes me into the path that I want to, this is the stuff I've been manifesting. I've been trying to I want a place with land. I want a place. I wanted to be by my daughter and my grandbaby. And David and Lorna know this too. But this is like, this is me going through the portal and turning with that Chiron key. That's that Chiron key. It was like, it's 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 a wound. It's a wound, you know. But you to go through that. I told you guys to get the Chiron is that key to get you through that north node, and that's your path. That's your path. So. I'm gonna see if I can turn this around. I'm kind of waiting for people to show up. Um, the other thing I want to tell you guys, and looking at David remind me of that. I'm gonna go live, try to go live daily in a different way. So I'm gonna put music on. I will be in the chat hanging out, but you won't see me. You'll see the music in background. Okay, so it'll still be a place that we can hang out. You guys can ask me questions. I'll be there. We're gonna try to do it every day, but you know we may miss a day or two here, and it'll have to be in the evening. It's not gonna be in the morning, but it'll have to be like around this time, and it won't, you know, it won't be for like 2 or 3 hours like we were doing, unfortunately, um, because I can only get on when the baby goes to sleep. So if you guys can just bear with me, we'll change that schedule for now, and when we can, we'll put the music on. I'll be in the chat. You can ask me questions. I'll be there each time. You know, sometimes I'll have to leave because I've got the baby. But other than that, if you guys think that's a good thing, I think I'm gonna do it that way. That way I continue to stay on. I continue to like talk about what's going on, and I may film some stuff and then put it on live. I still kind of I'm still trying to figure all that stuff out. So in the midst of all of this change, I'm still trying to figure that stuff out because when I decided to come back to YouTube, I'm going to do it 100% and I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going. My life and my path just happens to be that things change quickly, and we just happen to be at the lunar and solar eclipse. But this solar eclipse, once you get through that wound, once you get through that, remember I told you Chiron is that key. Once you get through that, once you get over your fears, not over your fears, once you work with your fear and trust yourself. And I'm going to talk about I mean, not the Chiron, Saturn and Mars. Mars in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces. You got to learn to trust yourself. You have to have faith in yourself. Thank you guys so much for giving me all the hearts and all the stuff. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure how many people are going to be on here, but for those of you that see this later, please just keep me in your light. Things are going to work out. I know they're going to work out. They have to work out because this is the North Node. This is the solar eclipse. This is when stuff starts coming to you. I am clearing out everything. I'm clearing out old wounds. I'm working through old stuff. Remember, you guys, I told you in that 12th house Pluto, if you go back and look at the 12th house Pluto that I made, it's going through my 12th house. It's my blind spot. It's where I won't see things coming. And this is for anybody that has the 12th house Pluto. It's going to work on your fear, your trauma. So I have that going on. Remember I told you guys about my second house having Chiron and Saturn in there. So I really have to work with the resources of me. You know, it's about self-preservation as well as, you know, self-preservation as well as with the community, with humanity, right? That's all stuff I'm working on now. And when you come see me, we'll talk about what you'll be working on. We'll get it really clear for you. So I think I can turn, I don't know if I can turn this oh, I think I can turn the camera around. I know David's like, oh my God, Cindi. So, yeah, let me turn the camera around and show you guys what's going on, okay? So here we go. All right, can you guys see that? This is the best I can do right now. And I have to talk to David because I've got this pin here, but it's not working, and I think that's my fault. So I'll just point. So right now, I'm just going to show this really quickly here. So right now we have Mars and Saturn and the Moon and Neptune and, yeah, the Neptune, Moon, and Saturn, sorry, and Mars. And these are all in Pisces. I told you about the Saturn in Pisces is having us reevaluate what our belief system is, whether that's religion, whether that's spirituality, whether that's yourself. With Mars here, that's disruption. So with Mars and Saturn in Pisces, that's a disruption. That's like Mars and Saturn really calling out what is your belief system. So now you got to put your money where your mouth is. That's what this is. And there's some emotions going on there with that moon. So you may have felt a little bit better, some relief as to what's going on with this Neptune here also. And remember, Venus has moved into Aries. And before all this is all going to be together. So we're moving into this area. This is that north node. This is the sun. This is Chiron. And we are in Mercury retrograde. So the last eclipse that was in Aries was in 2017. So if you can think about the last solar eclipse, if you can think about what was going on in 2017, what was brought in, how was your life changed after the eclipse in 2017? What changed? And we all know that 2019 happened, but what started to change in 2017? And that is going to be, it's almost like you're going to the next level with that stuff, right? With the North Node here and the Sun here, and we're fixing to get that eclipse, right? You're going to be moving into the North Node. Things are going to be coming, but I'm telling you, it's not like normal eclipses because we have that Chiron there. Chiron is there, so there is a wound that we're not going to heal, but we are going to learn to work with, right? And we talked about this on a global level where, we talked about not enough resources. They're saying that that's not enough resources. We don't have enough, blah, blah, blah. And if you look at what I'm dealing with now, there's not enough housing. There's a wound, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to get housing. That just means I have to work with the wound. And I'm just bringing it to myself so that you guys kind of get what's going on. This is Mercury retrograde. So whatever we do, now for me, I was born in a retrograde, and I haven't talked about this a lot, but if you're born with a retrograde, you're used to retrograde. So it's a little bit easier for you to work in this energy because you're used to, that's your energy. Your energy is, you know how to work with a Mercury retrograde, right? So I know that everything I do, I need to make sure, especially going through this, but this Chiron, this wound, that's me rethinking, reshaping, redoing, and for me, honestly, it's about my family, being closer to my family, um, really taking in what I want. This is part of the North Node in here in my resources. For me, this is a second house. I'm not sure where it's different for everybody else, but with this, you have to remember we talked about that lunar eclipse. So the lunar eclipse was taking away things, and it's still going to be going on for the next 3.5 months, taking away, making room for what it is that you had been manifesting. And honestly, for those of you, remember I talked about this about this last summer, thinking, why isn't anything coming through? I'm trying to manifest and it's not working. Remember we talked about this in Pisces. Why isn't it coming through? Now's the time that these things are coming through. Now's the time that you're going to get to manifest. Now is the time, if you've cleared the way, and you didn't have to do much. This is that lunar eclipse that does it for you. It's going to eclipse you into the things that you're wanting, into the things that you have been looking for the past couple of years, into those things that you have been trying to manifest that weren't manifesting. You're going to see some of those come through with this. But again, it's in a weird energy because it's this Chiron. It's this wound. It's like, I get what I want, but I do have a little bit of fear. I do have to deal with a little bit of emotion that's uncomfortable. For some, it's more uncomfortable than others, right? And some of you may find yourself like I did. Like I was thinking I'm in a very different place than I was, and I have never done this before. That's why I know it's new energy, because I've never done it this way before. You guys know, I mean, I had somebody that usually gets on here when I said I was moving and that I was a little afraid, and that, because I don't have a place to land and all that, and they said, and they brought that back to me, and they said, moving is your middle name. Like, that's what you do. That's what you know how to do. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I do know how to do this. So it's that wound. It's that thing coming up. It's like, oh, I got to do this again. But I've done this many times, right? And it may not, and the reason I know it's not the exact same and that this is new energy is because I haven't done it this way, if that makes any sense. So that could be happening to you guys in whatever area of life. For me, this is my second house, okay? For others, it could be your first house. If it's your first house, it's your whole identity changing. It's you looking at yourself in a very different way and approaching the world in a very different way. For the second house, like me, it's about your resources. It's about your worthiness. It's about you showing up for yourself. It's about you connecting to that, for me, like me, connecting to that 12th house of self-preservation. It's about you understanding that you matter, right? So I see Sandy Train was hidden. Why was she hidden? We may have it. I may have the thing on too, the security on too strong. I'm sorry, Sandy. So in the third house, this will be about your communication. This will be about your neighbors around you. This will be about your sort of your skills, kind of. Things like that could be changing around you. Things like that could be coming up for you. And again, if Aries is hitting your fourth house, oh, okay, okay. Thanks, David. David said I think it was me. Thanks, David. Because Sandy, I mean, she's here all the time. So I was thinking the security was off or too strong. So in the fourth house, you guys could be coming to an understanding, coming to a different way of knowing where you came from and how you're going to proceed. Okay, thank you, David. David said I fixed it. How you're going to proceed, understanding where your roots are, understanding like your siblings, maybe coming to a different way. And this is stuff that you don't have to work on. You may have to work through, but you don't have to work on like trying to do something. It's going to be done for you because it's the eclipse, right? And then in your fifth house, this is about you believing in yourself and creating what you want. And I mean, it is like the romance house, but it also has to do with your creation. Is there a dream? Is there something you've been trying to manifest that's your creation only? That is the fifth house for you. The sixth house is your everyday, your schedule, your everyday, like your job schedule could change. Whatever this is, you're going to have a big change, right? Your seventh house, of course, we know the seventh house is your partnerships. You know, some of you, you're going to have some people come into your life that are going to become your partner, that are going to, whether that's in business or whether that's in personal or, yeah, either one of those. So that's the seventh house. And then the eighth house is really interesting, especially for this solar eclipse. You could find yourself in a space where you get people that invest in you, or you're trying to understand, finally you're getting through to the give and take of like, it's not just contracts, it's like, do you have people around you that take too much and you've been really working on having the right people around you? You know, that could pop up in your eighth house. This is all about you understanding the balance between giving and taking in investments and opportunities in the banking. This has to do with the banking system. It has to do with anything that's like in a partnership. I always think of this as, in the seventh house you get married, and then in the eighth house you're married now and you work on putting things together. Is it balance? Is he or she taking too much? Is he or she giving too much? That's kind of what the eighth house is, and that could be coming up for you. Like, you could get opportunities in this eighth house. If you're if Aries is an eighth house for you, you could be getting opportunities. And the ninth house is your belief system. So you're going to be, and I'm sure you've already worked on this, all of us have, with the Saturn and Pisces, you're going to be understanding, and you could be starting, you could have an opportunity come into your, if you're a ninth house, if Aries is in your ninth house, you could have an opportunity of understanding higher learning, the occult, learning astrology, learning, different religions, learning, you could have some sort of person come in and offer that to you, like even a mentorship, kind of like. That's the ninth house where something is going to change, where your belief system is challenged and where you come to understand it differently. If this is in your 10th house, if Aries and this solar eclipse is in your 10th house, and again, all of this you don't have to work on. It's just going to happen, and then you got to work through, okay? So, if it's in your 10th house, you could get a bigger position. You could get a job if you don't have one. You could get opportunities. You could get, because it's a Capricorn house, the 10th house is a Capricorn house, but it's Aries, it's the start, it's the eclipse, it's the opportunities coming to you. So you could get leadership abilities, like in your job. They're going to ask you to do more. They're going to give you a raise. You're going to get the accolades. Or you could have somebody really start to mentor you too and teach you about what you're doing, right? So teach you in your job, teach you in your, even if you own your own business, you may have somebody come along that has owned that business and helps you escalate this. In the 11th house, this is the start of new friends. This is the start of new groups. This is where you're going to come to understand, hey, these are my people. This is my group, right? Opportunities could come with that. But again, remember this Chiron key. And remember that these opportunities, you may have had glimpses of since 2017, every now and then, because of this retrograde here, right? So be sure with this retrograde, if you weren't born with the retrograde, be sure when things come to you that you take another look at it, right? As they're coming to you, take another look at it, okay? So, and then the 12th house. The 12th house, you're not going to see it coming, but if you're a 12th house, you're trying to understand the bigger picture and where you fit in, and this could clear it up for you. You're going to have to deal with some wound there, and this opportunity, and it is an opportunity, so it can come in many forms in the 12th house. Like, you could get an inheritance, as like the 8th house. You could get an inheritance, and you're wondering why and who and what. And this may have been because you knew this person before. That's the retrograde, right? Maybe you met I'm just going off of what I'm thinking. Maybe you met a person, right? Maybe you met someone a long time ago and you helped them out, and then, they leave you something. That can happen in the 12th house. Whatever this is, you're not going to see it coming until it comes. But remember the solar eclipse, we will see the effects for the next 6 to 8 months on the 8th, okay? And for some of us, this stuff starts a little bit before. Like me, everything starts a little early. Everything starts quickly, right? So, okay, good. Sandy said, yes, I'm here. Yeah, she's usually here. So, does anybody have any questions about that? I didn't want to stay on long. I just wanted to let you know that I was here, and that we're going to be doing, or I'm going to, David's going to be helping me. He's in California, I'm in Oregon, but we've done this before where we worked states apart. David and I are pros at this now. So, I'm going to be coming on live when I can. I won't always be doing it this way. What we're normally going to do is, you guys remember you love David's music. He's working on some music now, and he's going to put it in the background. And I will be in the chat. So I'll be in the chat, and you guys can ask me any questions, and I'll answer them as I can, and I will be available. So I just wanted to say that for now. I really appreciate everybody coming. I appreciate all the hearts, and I am going to end this now. So thank you so much. I appreciate and love you guys. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.